Our second speaker, Dr. Woon, will share how Starbucks values CSR and the CSR strategies of the organization. Please hear from Dr. Woon.
So the title of my presentation is Corporate Social Responsibility, the Values of Starbucks. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that CSR is really at the core of Starbucks. And we're not just something that was thought up. CSR is not something that was thought up afterwards or after we became successful or in the process of being successful, but actually it is the part of the company, and it pervades through the company. And one of the very clear indicators is that we now have a senior vice president for corporate social responsibility in the headquarters in Seattle, and she's been there for 3 years. And the previous person who was in charge of CSR for Starbucks was the CEO himself. So the CEO himself did CSR. In other words, it was that important and not given to another officer. But now with the work that and the expansion globally, so now they have to bring in an expert. But again, the fact that the CEO himself was the CSR main person tells you really what it means for Starbucks. So what is our CSR strategy? As I said earlier, we want to integrate CSR into every part of the business. And yes, we have a CSR department, okay, and we always have to remind ourselves and remind the other departments that CSR is just not our business, and so they can go on and do other things and then forget about CSR and just leave it to us to work on this. I think that things like environment, for example, I think in the past all relegated to a few people working on the environment in many companies or in the government even. But then now everybody knows that environment really pervades through many companies and the government, including the Hong Kong government here. It's not just the environment people who are responsible. Same here in CSR and for us. The CSR starts for Starbucks in responsible procurement, okay? Because we purchase a lot of coffee beans, okay? And coffee beans are grown mostly in poor countries, in third world countries around the world. So therefore, we are very conscious of the farmers' livelihood, and on the C market, which is the coffee market in New York, we pay way above the market average for coffee, not only because of the quality, but because we care about some other issues. And this particular slide is how we look at the social responsibility when it deals with the farmers. I mentioned the premium prices. We talk about conservation and certify. We have a farmer support center in the Central America to give technical support to improve the technology. And also we have many activities, whether it be schools or hospitals or whatever, with the people that live in those coffee farming communities, social development. And then we have access to credit because coffee is one crop a year, and therefore you have to have money in order to all through the year in order to tide through, and so we provide that too. So that is really a big part of our CSR effort is back to what we call the origin countries where the coffee comes from. A part of our coffee is fair trade. The other part is what we have called cafe practices. Fair trade, of course, many of you know, is fair trade coffee is well accepted, but the cafe practices that Starbucks has set up actually takes in an index of about 20, 30 factors of how the cooperative or how the supplier deals in education, deals with health, deals with how the living conditions, etc., and they get scored, and when they score high, then we give them a good score, and we purchase a coffee from those cooperatives and those farmers. So that is a big emphasis, of course, for Starbucks. But in general, if you want to make a business case, for CSR, like I said earlier, we do CSR because we think it's right. But on the other hand, as the professor pointed out, there is a business case, to be made for CSR. And here is it helps our supply chain. It involves us with the society. It increases customer loyalty. Hopefully the customers feel that they are frequenting a company which is socially responsible. It attracts and retains partners. Partners are the names that we give to our employees. We don't call them employees, we call them partners. And then it does reduce operating costs, and also it means that we're welcomed by communities.
As Dr. Woon has explained, CSR becomes a core element of Starbucks. He also demonstrates how the company starts the CSR by buying fair trade coffee and makes commercial sense by building brand prestige and consumer loyalty. Dr. Woon will then outline some of the Starbucks China-based CSR programs. Please listen to Dr. Woon.
Now, let's shift focus and talk about Greater China, okay? Since I'm responsible for CSR in Greater China, so let's focus on that. So what do we do? What are we doing in Greater China? Well, what we're trying to do is to extend Starbucks' CSR commitment to the entire market. And when I say the entire market, I go back to what I said a little earlier, is that means that when we have joint venture partners, we have a joint venture partner in Beijing, we have a joint venture partner in the East China region, and then I said we have Maxim's down here, and we have another joint venture partner in Taiwan, and we have our own stores in many so-called second-tier cities like Chongqing and Qingdao and in Chengdu. All of them have different investment structures, different management control, different operational control, different people, calling the shots. But on CSR, what we want to do is to, send a uniform message, across Greater China. And that is actually, some effort because in the last 4.5 or 5 months that I've been there, collaborating and working with the other people who have been used to sort of working on their own, has been a little bit of a, it's something that we're going to have to continue to do, and everybody has to get used to. And I think that today it's actually in much better shape than before. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say connect the business units, because business units have their own CSR programs, and we want to make sure that they're roughly in sync. We don't want to stifle individual and regional initiatives, but yet we want to make sure that there's some sort of coordination and also best practices shared between Shenyang and Guangzhou, and between Guangzhou and Suzhou. And then develop appropriate community development activities. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later.